Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Haters Ball.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some hating tonight, I heard.
Apparently.
How's the weather in Phoenix these days?
Getting better. I think there's only like 3 days left of over 100.
Oh, man, we've been in the mid-80s.
Oh, man, that sounds great.
Oh, it is. It feels like cold. It feels chilly.
Nice. Yeah, I think I looked next Friday, it's like 94 or something like that, which is, for us, it's good.
Pretty good. How low does it get? How low do the highs get during the winter months?
I think about the low 60s.
Nice. That's great. All right. What's the buyer's premium on this episode?
We're gonna increase it, I think, after
going up.
Yep, going up.
Prices. We had a low of 40. Okay. All right. Let's kick things off with mail days. I have none, but I know you have one.
I have one, which I'm really excited about. Let's turn the camera around. This here is the 2003 exquisite Noble nameplates LeBron. So this would be an RPA. And I'm excited about the patch and the auto. Both are above average for this set. Grade 7.5, not so great, but I got to give up on something or else I'm going to be paying too much. So there it is. Can you see see, I got it right there. It's like what would you call that?
Gold or a bronzish gold?
Yeah, it's like the etched kind of pattern, like a etched
holofoil.
Etched holofoil, yeah. I think they match the jersey color because you and I saw the Kobe from Coleman and it was like a purple, and this one's like the goldish color for the Cavs.
Very nice. Very, very nice. If some noise leaks in, that's because there's a Drake concert for the second night across the way.
Ooh, Drake's in Dallas, huh?
Yes. I got a question I want to ask him about a recent scandal, but I don't know if I'll be able to talk to him.
You don't have backstage passes tonight?
No backstage passes tonight.
I know one way to get his attention.
What's that?
Lean over the edge of your balcony and just start screaming that you're going to jump.
Well, my card portfolio keeps going down. That might be a reality.
We'll just say, like, I will jump unless Drake comes out and talks me down.
Right.
Hey, while I got you here, Drake, I got a couple questions for you, bud. How's your MJ Fleer doing? Oh, wait, that wasn't him, was it? I get those guys confused.
Me too. I don't know. Okay, so where does that new LeBron rank in your PC, in your LeBron PC? Does it crack the top five?
No, probably not top five. Probably like eight or nine, somewhere in there.
Okay. Solid.
Yeah. Solid. He's no Mickey Mantle.
No.
If you have a Mickey Mantle PC, can you even make a top 10? Does he even have 10 cards?
Okay, we are ready to go here. Before we get into the questions of the show today, do we have any announcements, card ladder related?
No. This week was a maintenance week. Nothing new and exciting for the people.
Lots of hobby maintenance this week.
Our price is the same. Is that an announcement?
Yeah, right.
For the low price of $15 a month.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking about that a little bit today. It's been $15 a month for 3.5 years. I mean, it's basically $3 a month in an adjusted fee, right? Like if you adjust that for inflation.
I knew you were going to go down that path of like the inflation joke. That's good. That's good stuff.
Thank you. All right. Let's get into the questions because, oh boy. It's going to be a small soliloquy here, just reading all the questions on our first topic. So let me just dig in. All right. I'm just going to read the cluster of them, and then we'll go from there. WTF Frankie podcast says, please discuss Josh's observation on Mickey Mantle's 1952 tops being overpriced. JGP45 says, please discuss Josh's take on the 1952 tops Mantle being overrated. Publius13 says, why is Chronicles? Has anyone ever called you Chronicles?
I don't know. No, probably not.
He did capitalize it out of respect. Why is Chronicles tanking the Mickey Mantle market? Mahomie Card says, why did Josh decide to open up the Mickey Mantle player haters ball? Sweat47 says, please discuss why Mickey Mantle is the GOAT. Dormant Stash says, why is the pop so high on the 1952 Mantle? Do we know when the pop exploded? Venezuelan League Stickers says, vintage baseball is pressed. And last question, but by far the longest one, buckle in for a minute. Brax Ball Cards with an early appearance. Yo, bro, tell my boy Josh that the reason Mickey Mantle is the fire of baseball comes down to one word. Easily the single most important word when it comes to who you are and what your legacy is. Your brand. Nobody has a stronger brand than the Mick. His brand recognition transcends sports and stats. You'd think someone as smart and sophisticated with a brand as strong as Josh's would recognize this. Recognize game, bro. If you want to know more about the power of your brand and why it's the most important thing about yourself, more important than your looks, brains, or personality, read my book, bro. I deep dive into brands and branding and why we are no longer people, we are brands. If you ain't branding, you lose it. Mickey Mantle built a strong brand that will continue to stand the test of time. Haters be damned. Later, bro. Stay humble, remain grateful, and remember your brand is everything. All right. Every angle, I think, on the Mickey Mantle topic covered there.
Mm-hmm. Can I start with one thing?
Yes.
I did use the word insanely overrated, which was mostly just for the that extra jab. But you would think me calling it overrated means that I think the card should be worth 0 based on the reaction. There's a difference between saying something's overrated and I think it's bad, and nobody should ever buy this card and it's worthless. And I also never said the Willie Mays should be worth more. I just thought the gap was too wide. Like I was looking through consensus rankings all time, and Willie Mays is like way higher than Mantle on every single list I saw. His stats are better. He played longer. Yet the difference in the market cap of their cards is like 8x. And the reasoning was basically like Mickey Mantle was like a hero post World War II.
Okay, so good opening salvo there, setting the record straight and bringing the debate into some facts and really the substance of what you're saying. I have a quick question here for you as Josh pulls up the comparison here between the 52 tops Mantle and the Willie Mays. I think, right? 8x market cap? Was that what I heard?
Well, I mean, you might agree, might not. The 86 Fleer Jordan, I think, is the other wildly overrated card. Like, those two cards, just, like, their market cap's insane. The amount of money that people...
Hold on. Save that for next week. Save the 86 Fleer for next week.
I mean, dude, look. If you look at the ladder, like, all the top market caps are just those two cards. Like, over and over and over.
Yeah.
The Maze is... I'd have to scroll forever to get to the Maze.
I think the word you're looking for is Pareto.
That is the word I'm looking. So the market cap on the Maze PSA 8 is 10 million, and then the Mantle is this one's not going to be 8x, but it's 34 million. So it's about 3.5x.
Okay, that's a ton. All right, let me ask you this though. I had like a question for you. So within the last week, you've incurred reactions from football prospectors QB prospectors, and also Mickey Mantle collectors, which compare and contrast the reactions that you got from these different beloved groups of our hobby.
Well, nobody's safe.
Okay, good to know. Let me write that one.
Well,
Nobody's safe.
I don't know. The prospecting one was more like, the take was like, hey, I'm aware this is a risk, but I'm doing this as like a known risk. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to time it, and at least I have the balls to do it, kind of thing. And the Mantle one was more of like, trying to educate me on his cultural significance, which is cool. And like I learned some new stuff about Mantle I didn't know. I didn't know a lot of the stuff about how he was seen in the 50s post World War II and stuff. So that was interesting to learn about. The football one was less interesting to me. It's just like, let me gamble, bro, was kind of the sentiment.
Okay.
I would say though about 75% of my DMs on the Mantle was like, I agree with you. It's overrated. I can't wait to see all the hate you're about to get. Like people know it's gonna incur hate, and that's kind of the funny part about it. But it was mostly just people like saying, yeah.
What about this this stats, like Mantle's collectability is derived from something besides his on the field play, that there's something more to it. There's this cultural aspect, this intangible thing. What did you think about that aspect of this?
I mean, I think that's obviously true, and that's fine. It's just up to a certain point. I think you have to like draw the line eventually. I mean, I understand it more than most. I collect Penny Hardaway, dude. He's not even a Hall of Famer. He's borderline mid as a basketball player. I think he made like one All-NBA team, early in his career, and then injuries took over, and his prices are more than Scottie Pippen, who's a six-time NBA champion in a lot of cases. So I understand.
As they should be. Go on.
0-time champion without MJ. I would add for Pippen. First. So I understand, the cultural significance. I understand the nostalgia part of it, but I don't, Penny Hardaway's not the most expensive. He's not even like top 10 in basketball. Like it comes to a certain point, you have to balance them out. And so for Mantle to catapult out of the top 10 where he resides statistically all the way to number 1 for cards, to me is a stretch. So that's really like the basis of this whole thing is this guy's barely top 10 all the time, yet he consistently has a $500,000 card sell once a month. It all started because you texted me the layout of like what decade of card has the most six-figure sales. Was it six figures?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the month of August 2023, there were 58 six-figure sales, and 8 of them were the 52 Topps Mantle.
I saw the list and it was like 2, 1, 4, 3, and the 1950s it was like 8.
It was 18. It was 18 in the 50s.
So the Mantle was 8 of the
8 of them was the 52 Topps Mantle.
And I didn't even ask you a follow-up. My brain just went to like, God damn, that Mantle sells for so much money every goddamn month. Why am I supposed to just accept this?
Yeah, every other decade from the 1900s to the 2020s, all 13 of those decades were producing 2, 3, maybe 4 six-figure cards last month. But the 50s had 18, and it was 52 Topps Mantle and maybe a few other Mantles too.
Yeah. And then I thought, maybe I'm underestimating the power of like the hobby itself. Like the 1952 Topps set is really deriving most of its value just from the nostalgia of collecting cards itself, and not necessarily focused on the player or some other thing. You know what I mean? Like maybe we should just be giving credit to sports cards for a lot of that value. It's just like people want to own what is seen as the best sports card, whether it's the Honus Wagner, who none of us have ever seen play, yet people are dropping millions of dollars every time that thing sells, or the 52 Topps Mantle, and they just want a piece of sports cards. They want to be able to invest in them. So, I'm able to still look at it and not just like blindly shit all over that card, even though people took it that way. I can see, all these different factors playing. Just looking at it from my perspective, I just feel like it's a little bit overvalued price-wise.
Well, and what do you make about something that you pointed out in your story, which is that, so if you go to Card Ladder, like, let me just back up for a second here. If you go to a card's profile on Card Ladder, like here I'm looking at the SGC 9.5, 52 Topps Mantle, which sold for a little under $13 million last year. If you just click on this little book thing here, it's going to take you to the total pop. And the total pop of the Mantle, data provided by GemRate, is 2,735 with 3 total gems. Those being the PSA 10s. What about that?
I think the Maze has 4,000, so the Maze is actually more graded, and then the MJ Fleer is 43,000. So like relative to the Fleer MJ and even the Maze, the Mantle is a little bit more scarce. A lot of them are at the bottom of a river. So it's not super, it's not like more overprinted than maybe my story was leading on. It's actually like semi-rare compared to a lot of these other vintage cards. But, it's still a lot. 2,700 is a lot. And you're going to keep seeing these cards in auction. The PSA 7s and 8s are just going to keep coming up, and they just keep selling for 6 figures. And, that's what it is. That's what the card is.
I want to read a comment from Cage. He says,
Good luck.
He goes, you would not have cards of LeBron if not for the 1952 Mantle. That card is what the hobby is built on. The story, the set, the history. It's not about who is better in Maze versus Mantle. That card transcends.
So that was my point, though. Isn't Maze also in that set? Like, what? I don't understand that part of it. Like, that set exists because of Mantle? I thought Maze was in that set, and they're both the same rookie year. Right? What am I missing? Is there some like thing I'm missing there?
I honestly am not the right person to to take the other side.
Right. Like someone in the chat, Maze is in that set. So like this is the thing, right? Yeah, okay. Mantle was everyone's hero. He was the more popular player. Clearly, he was on the Yankees. He won 7 championships and all this. Like, I get that. But to just like credit Mantle for saving the hobby when there's other historical players all around him in these other sets. Couldn't I say this about like 57 Topps with Bill Russell and 61 Fleer with Wilt? Would we really have not had those sets if it wasn't for 52 Topps? Maybe, that was like, that's what all the people talk about in 52. Kids had these cards in their bikes, spokes, and 52 Topps is this, iconic thing. It's possible, but I wasn't around in the 50s, so I don't know.
Fair enough. All right, couple follow-ups here. Cage says the Maze card doesn't have the same allure. Mantle was player of the decade and a Yankee. He was baseball.
Yeah. Anytime we're talking about like feelings, it's just hard for me to debate. Like, I don't know what I'm arguing against.
Yeah, that's what makes the argument become slippery, is when it moves into the intangibles, the impact on culture and the impact on history. And at that point, what can you really say back to that?
Yeah, I mean, couldn't I argue that Jackie Robinson had more cultural impact than Mickey Mantle? Like, we wouldn't even have like a bunch of athletes playing if it wasn't for Jackie Robinson, right? Or at least like he's been credited with, breaking the color barrier in baseball. So like I would argue Jackie Robinson should actually be more popular and valuable than Mickey Mantle, but he's not. And his card's older. And, again, going back to like maybe it's just the 52 Topps.
Yep. And in fairness to the 52 Topps hierarchy, there are lots of other hierarchies, like the point that you made too. When we're talking about Penny Hardaway, there's lots of places in the hobby where, for nostalgic reasons or cultural reasons or both, or other intangibles, players just more collected.
Yeah, which is fine, dude. Like I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying like if I'm going to reserve the very top spot for the most valuable card ever, I would like it to be like a top 3 player of all time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What would you like to see happen? What's the goal here? Where does this end?
What's the goal?
Yeah, like where do you want this? Where would you like to see this go?
Oh, I'm just going to like pick off every category that's not LeBron exquisites and just start going down the line. Boom, 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 boom. I was going to post a joke of a story that was just like, guys, all that really matters is your cards are overvalued and mine are undervalued. That's really what we're talking about here. That's the goal.
Nice, man. We all really got bored with football prospects quick, didn't we?
Oh, I don't. There's not a real goal, man. I just made an observation, made a story post, and it got out of hand.
Yeah. I don't know. It could have gone more out of hand. I think.
What do you think?
I thought it was actually pretty in hand.
What do you think? What is your opinion?
Man, I tried to work myself up to care about this topic, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you stirred the pot on this, because it seems like a lot of people might have that question, or you might have brought something under the surface to the surface that has led to some interesting dialogue and some interesting thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I come out of it thinking the hobby and like the history of sports cards have more power than I understood before I started this. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that makes a ton of sense.
Which is a good thing for all of us.
Yeah. It's good when these debates don't end in bloodshed.
I mean, dude, if you weirdos are willing to pay 6 figures on every card that pops up of the 10th best player of all time, I think we're pretty safe here. That's the headline. Write that one down.
Nice. Okay. A few more questions on this topic, but more specific. Cards and Cardio says, if Mantle is the most overrated person collected in baseball, which is not what you said, right? You didn't say he's the most overrated in all of baseball.
No.
But
you're just looking for the equivalent.
But if that's true, if Mantle is the most overrated person collected in baseball, then who is the football equivalent?
It's a 2-way tie. Are you ready?
Oh my God, you're ready for this? Yeah.
Peyton Manning and Drew Brees.
Yo, dude, Drake said earlier in the chat that the wrath of 1,000 bees will descend on Phoenix and begin stinging you if you come after Peyton.
Bees? Man, I don't like bees. That was the joke answer. I don't know. I thought of this for a while. I couldn't really come up with one. I think the guys who are the most valuable in football make the most sense to me statistically.
Okay.
Brady and Montana and Jerry Rice, those all make sense to me. I can only think of prospects, which is a different category.
Is this unique? Is this unique to baseball, or does basketball have some wildly overrated players, hobby-wise?
Dennis Rodman. I've been on that one for a while. That dude's the most overrated player.
All right. There was a staff writer for The Ringer who wrote an elaborate document explaining why Rodman is the greatest player of all time.
He used no numbers anywhere in that article, I'm guessing.
I don't know. I never read it, surprisingly.
Someone sent me an article, Mark, Sweat 47. He got really excited about this. He was like, yes, go harder. You're not, you're being too nice. Kill these Mantle guys. He sent me some article where a guy proved through data that Tony Gwynn is the best hitter of all time. And I know MK Sports Mike's been all over that, so he was a little nervous to bring it up. But it was basically talking about how in baseball you have all these adjustments that you make for batting average based on the era of the pitcher's speed that they throw and the relative hitting prowess of people around you, to adjust for it. And it did all the math and it came out with Tony Gwynn. I thought that was an interesting article.
Nice. All right. Okay. Cajun Cardboard says, I guess I kind of jumped the shark on this question a little bit here, but Cajun Cardboard says, Mickey Mantle being the Grail of Baseball
Yep.
is like fill in the blank being the Grail of Basketball.
So he sent me a DM on this, and I had an answer for myself, but I like his better. So I'll give you mine first.
All right.
Mine was Larry Bird.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one.
I had Larry about 7th all time, somewhere around that range, 7, 8. I think that was fair. I think that was unbiased, fair response. And Larry Bird's cards are nowhere near, like not even close. And I get that he's the 80s and Mantle's the 50s again, going back to like the 52 tops, and that's kind of the reason. But Larry Bird, his answer I thought was funnier. He said Julius Erving. I thought that was pretty clever.
Okay. Why did you like Dr. J?
I don't know. It just felt like it's a little bit more of a shot at it. Like it's a little bit more. Larry Bird's pretty good, but Julius Erving's like 17 or 18 all time. It's like it's a real knife in the back dig there.
Sometimes people reply to the questions, like when I put them to the story, and somebody said Tony Delk.
See, I mean, that's because they listen to your episode.
Yes, I connected that dot later today. Was that's because I mentioned Tony Delk in Stacking Slab Spot.
Whenever you're going into an example, I'm like, who's he going to use for this? Tony Delk. Oh, I did not have that on my choices there. That was a good one.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any closing remarks here on your voyage into your voyeurism, your expedition into the world of 52 tops?
The word you're looking for is stupidity. My stupidity of trying this is not worth it. It was so painful having to talk. All these vintage guys are yelling at me. Not worth it.
What did you find the vintage collector reaction to be a little too much? A little too? Was it appropriate? Was it an overreaction?
No,
was it unduly defensive?
No, it was probably appropriate because I used the word insanely overrated. Like I was asking for it. I feel like it was justified. There was, I'm mostly joking. It wasn't that much. It was like 3 guys that were really upset, and one of them was Titty Subs, and he was like kind of joking but yelling at me because he knows it's funny. It was fine. It was fun. I'll do more of it. I like to do them on Thursday nights so that we got a good topic for the show. Checkmate.
Cement Shoe says respect Cyberger. Indeed, Cyberger dumping those 52 tops mantles into the water was so key to so many things that would follow in this hobby.
Why don't you care about this? Because vintage is boring to you, or just like it's just a super plain topic? Oh, that card's overrated, just because it's like the easy thing to say. Easy target.
Because my mind has been on other hobby topics. I think that's why. I do think it's interesting. Here's the thing, though. I don't even know where to begin to weigh in on this topic, especially when it comes to how properly rated is Mantle relative to other baseball greats. I don't know, man. I don't have the knowledge anywhere close to the knowledge of baseball history, baseball analytics, baseball culture to begin discussing that.
Yeah. And I don't either, but I really liked ESPN's top 100 all time. I thought it was decent enough to have a conversation, and I went to their equivalent of baseball, and they had them at 7. It's like, well, here we go. 7. Well, sounds good to me.
Yeah, one that has been I've taken a similar approach to that when 90s guys in particular preach the gospel of Ken Griffey Jr.
Where is it? Oh, see, now I can pull it up.
So let's see where Ken Griffey Jr. Because I've seen him be compared. I've seen him referenced as the Michael Jordan of the 90s for baseball. And I know they mean that for the hobby. They mean he was baseball's icon of the 90s for sports cards. But sometimes we can get a little carried away and slip into sort of equating Griffey and Jordan on a historical sports level. And that's when, let's see, 13th, right behind Honus Wagner, Hobby Goats.
Yeah, see, I looked at this list, Trout at 15, and I just I don't know enough to argue with it. So I was like, Babe Ruth's number 1, Willie Mays number 2, Hank Aaron number 3. I know all those guys, so we're off to a good start. Barry Bonds at 8. This number made sense to me.
Some of the 90s guys in the chat are getting really nervous
About Griffey?
Nobody thought Ken Griffey was going to be in the scope tonight, in the crosshairs.
I think
crossover, that should be the show title.
The crosshairs of crossover. Nice.
What I learned about this is that baseball spans just so far back in history that as much as we complain about how hard it is to compare cross-era of basketball, it just seems like it's exponentially harder to do in baseball. So because of that, it just sort of turns into chaos. And so you get players like Ken Griffey, the 13th best of all time, being praised as like the number 1 for hobby.
Yeah. That's a good point. Super good point. It's infinitely more difficult for them to try and come up with these lists.
Because some of these guys I was looking up, it's like the 4th best player of all time, Ty Cobb. He had 100 home runs. And I was like, your guys' 4th best player can't even hit home runs. And it was explained to me that back when he played, the ballparks were way further out. You basically couldn't hit home runs the way that it was structured. It was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, if Bill Russell was playing against plumbers and chimney sweepers, Babe Ruth was playing against the inventor of the outhouse.
Wasn't Babe Ruth famously way out of shape and drinking beers before games and eating hot dogs and stuff?
He was, however, I do believe this is the revival of the fat athlete. This is the fat man has come to take back the throne.
You're talking about Jokic?
I'm talking about Jokic. I'm talking about Tyson Fury. Another notorious glutton.
Yep.
Monstrosity.
I was watching an interview with
Anthony Ruiz.
I was watching an interview with Chad Ochocinco, and they asked him, why do you think so many football players today keep having all these injuries, hamstring injuries? It seems like it's so common. He said their diets are too good. You eat too many healthy foods, he says. And they just kind of moved past it, but it was like, oh my God, what? Because he ate McDonald's famously.
Okay, well, that's a take.
That's a take.
That's a take.
That is a bad one. That's a take.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to Ken Griffey Jr.'s career stats because I have looked them up before in the process of trashing him to others. And they're pretty good. They're good, dude. He had 630 career home runs.
Right.
That's I think that's decent.
Yep. He was very good. He was 13th best all time. Very impressive.
Yeah. And then people pointed out to me, I did find a list once that had him 40th, but people have pointed out to me that being 13th in baseball is probably being 6th, 5th, 7th in basketball. Because
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The history is so long.
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe he is Larry Bird. Larry Bird cards are undervalued. That's my take.
If you had that on your bingo card, you win.
David Owens doesn't know why, but he just got very excited.
David Owens started sleepwalking, just doing a dispensing money gesture.
All right.
All right, let's go with this. This has been riveting, folks. All right. Now, a question that was born of your topic. This comes from Hardwood Cardboard. Do people actually think John Stockton is better than Chris Paul?
I mean, some people probably think that. He's not that far off. I was looking at the stats. Stockton has amazing stats. He's the all-time leader in assists and steals, and he's never going to get passed ever. So his stats are very gaudy.
Right. Yeah. No, he's got those Iron Man stats.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's the Cal Ripken of basketball.
I sort of that's good. I sort of responded to the person who asked this question, Hardwood, and I said, we talked a little bit, and it made me look at Stockton's cumulative stats, and the distance between Stockton and Chris Paul in total assists is 5,500. It's the same distance as the distance between Chris Paul and Drew Holiday.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
He's got the Iron Man. But on a per game basis, it starts to look a lot different. And then when you get the catch-alls going, it starts to tilt Chris Paul.
I think they have equal amounts of All-NBA. Chris Paul has a lot more All-Stars. I think Chris Paul has twice as many All-Defensive Team and more. And he led the league in steals more often. So if you just pluck their primes, Chris Paul kind of dominates. But obviously the totality is Stockton.
Nice. Okay. Card Shop Dad. Okay, this is the last question related to this topic. Card Shop Dad says, what are the two greatest cards of all time? And why are they the 1986 Fleer and the 1952 Topps? If they're not those two, what are they?
So if the question was what are the two most well-known sports cards of all time, that's a good answer.
Right. What if we said the two most coveted or most in-demand sports cards of all time? Is it still true then?
Yeah. Popular, in-demand, agreed. I mean, you just picked random people off the streets. Those two are the most likely to be recognized, don't you think?
Yes, I do. I definitely do. Probably the 52 Topps Mantle even more so than the 86 Fleer, right? Yeah.
But yeah, when I talk about basketball cards to people who don't know anything about it, in my normal life, and I talk about I say basketball cards, they're like, isn't the Jordan one with the red, white, and blue? They at least can picture the border, on the Fleer. And then I've heard oh, the one with the yellow bat with Mickey Mantle. People definitely know those two cards.
Okay. But when it gets to the question of what's the greatest sports card, what do we mean by the greatest?
Well, I told you we both came to an agreement, I think, tonight, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we did. We definitely did. In fact, this card, the image of this card doesn't get shown enough for my liking. So let me pull up the image of it.
Just you sending me that one tonight. It was the first time I'd seen it in that form.
Yeah, it's so rare that you actually look at this card.
I'll get mine ready.
Yeah, you get yours ready. So I think you and I had something of a consensus that this is probably our choice for the greatest card ever made. This is the 1998 Gem Masters 1-of-1 Michael Jordan, the first and only Michael Jordan 1-of-1 PMG from quote-unquote playing days.
That, to me, is the best sports card ever made. And then I said this was second, the 03 Ultimate LeBron. There's also a vertical version of this, which people might say is better. I just like this one.
Plus, that one's a PSA 9, which just feels really tough.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone's actually seen the vertical one, which might make it even more awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Another very contentious topic this week was the following. USMNT Soccer Cards says, what's a fair percentage for an auction house to take? And Cajun Cardboard says, what are your thoughts on how long it takes Golden to realize that their new fee structure was not a wise decision? So that's a gentler way of putting the pushback that some people have been offering in light of the new policy. And I'd just like to say exactly what the policy is
before we move. So an email was sent out from Golden, new changes to our weekly auctions effective September 29th. For items 2,500 and under, or 2,499 and under, the seller gets 95% of the hammer. For 2,500 to 7,499, the seller gets 100% of the hammer. And for 7,500 and up in the weekly, the seller gets 105%. For the elite auction rates, contact. For sales lower than $50, there's now going to be a $5 listing fee. Starting bid for weekly auctions is going to change from $5 to $10. And tucked away at the end is the fact that a payment processing fee of 3% will now be assessed on all purchases made with credit or debit cards. I remember winning something on Golden a few years ago, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago now, and I was able to circumvent that 3% fee by paying via wire transfer.
Yes. That's always been there. That's not new. The 3% is not new, at least in the last year or so that I've noticed. Every time I get an invoice, it's there by default, and I have to switch to wire for it to come down, like you said.
And then there's something about BP going from 20 to 22%, but that wasn't in this email. I'm not sure what the source of that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's like, first you have to point out that people might think that the 22% all goes to the auction house in gold in this case. That's not true. The 22% is the buyer's premium, so that's what the buyer pays over the hammer, and then it's usually split between the seller and the auction house, how much of that 22% goes to who. And so that's what that really is laying out, is like how much Golden's getting versus how much the seller's getting, and those are the changes that are being made. So the question is like, how much should the auction house get on total of the, like, total, how much the buyer pays, how much should the auction house be taking? Maybe it sounds like it's the question.
Right. Yeah, exactly. What's the fair percentage net of everything that the house should ultimately be taking? Like, yeah, this gets complicated. You've got the BP, and then you've got the percentage of the hammer, and that percentage can go over 100. But if we just boil it down, on a $10,000 item, how much should go to the consignor and how much should go to the consignee?
We can agree that it's currently about 10% for all these places.
I think the fee structures get really complicated, but like just for the sake of...
Yeah. And eBay's like 13.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not an auction. I don't run an auction house. I haven't crunched the numbers. 10 seems a little high for mine. I mean, I've always thought 5 seemed fair, but you know, I haven't like crunched the numbers. I don't know what makes sense for my business.
Yeah, no, I know. I respect and admire the courage to put a number on it. I'm going to take the coward's way out and say that the fee should be whatever the free market and the competitive forces of competing marketplaces drives it down to. That's where it should be. But I also think it's worth noting that, people certainly vote with their wallets, and people value customer service, and they definitely value, above all, selling at the place that gets the most eyeballs and that's going to ultimately deliver them the largest amount of money once the house has been paid. So people are going to continue to explore and to figure that out, and let it shake out. Let's see where that shakes out.
Agreed. I mean, we can yell and scream about what it should be, but it will be what it will be based on supply and demand and where people send their cards.
Yeah, because if I had it my way, they'd be paying me to sell my cards there.
Why aren't we screaming for that? That's what we should be yelling about.
Exactly. Like if I'm dusting off one of my grails and sending that bad boy to auction, how about the hose premium? How about 10%? How about 130% of hammer?
And you keep it all.
Yeah. I I keep the hammer plus the BP plus another 10% on top because, you know, a great card was sent to auction and I had to lose it. I had to suffer through seeing that card go away.
Yeah, I just have a hard time buying from all these places when the number that I bid isn't what I'm paying. It's just like it hurts my brain. I have to sit here and like do math and bust out my calculator how much I'm gonna have to pay with taxes and shipping, and Instagram is like, here's what you're gonna pay. It's like an out the door, like when I'm buying a car. Out the door price. Give me that number.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be nice if it was just nice and simple and clean? If only. All right. From Vinny Slaverino. Always enjoy the show. Thank you, Vinny. People say cards are a good distraction from their day jobs, but for the three of you, where cards are your day jobs, are cards still a good distraction? Or are there days where you feel like you need a break from cards? And if so, what is it? And watching sports, that does not count as a break. Thanks, Vinny.
Well, I'm going to answer for Christina and you and me. There's another question that asked about vacation days, and it's the same answer as this one. What is a vacation day and what is a break from cards? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
We don't take breaks on this team.
Yeah, we don't. And it's never this is such a cliche and corny answer, but it's it rarely feels like the misery that I felt working in every other sector I've ever worked in. Especially those 12-hour Fridays when I was in law school my final year. I worked 12-hour days at my future, what was supposed to be my future law firm, and just researching things and like not knowing what I was doing, and just, oh man, the combination of being ignorant and not knowing what you're doing and doing difficult, monotonous work while hunched over in a downtown LA office and feeling the ground shake every once in a while because the building was on rollers and like there would be little tremors all the time. Yeah, I mean, compared to that, it's great to be able to do what we do. Not to say that but the flip side of that is we work more than I've ever worked in my life. That is true. But like, and then when I worked in the entertainment business, working in that business definitely took away some of the fun and the passion that I used to have when I treated composing music as a hobby. But in cards, that hasn't been the case. And I knock on wood for that.
Yeah.
Because I was worried about that, but it hasn't worked out that way at all.
What's that phrase? If you do what you love, you'll never work again a day in your life, or something like that. You know that phrase? That's kind of what I think of. But I mean, there's also times like last night, I literally sat on my couch to watch the Eagles-Vikings game, and you texted me, hey, can you look at this? Something with the card letter F, and I was like, God damn it. And I didn't watch a second of that game because I had to work. I had to work on the app, which is fine. You know, I like it, but there's trade-off. Do you remember when we had this topic a while back, and it was rank cards or the sports themselves? Like, which would you give up, collecting the cards or watching the sports? This question reminds me of that. But then at the end, the question said like, watching sports doesn't count, but like watching the sport kind of is my like rest from cards, where I'm like, I'm involved in the cards, it's part of it, but just like watching the sports, it's like a different thing for me. Like I'm watching it to learn about who are the players that are moving up, moving down, what teams are, you know, trying to get positioning in the rankings and stuff like that. And just like watching the entertainment value of the sport to me is always a great break.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. All right, like we had a question like this last week, and I sort of pushed it down the list, but it came up again this week, and I figured I guess some people want to hear this answer. All right, would you advise anybody to pursue starting a company or taking a job in the sports card industry?
We got asked this question a lot more 2 years ago.
Right.
And back then, I feel like we were saying to be cautious with it. So
I think that was good advice in hindsight.
I'd be more inclined to now tell people, like, yeah, you should get in now, because it's, you know what I mean? Like, now that it's kind of settled and we know what's what, certain companies have faded away, the ones that didn't make sense, we've sort of like settled into what we are right now, and it'll probably be that way for a while. So I think now's probably a pretty decent time to jump in.
Yeah. All right. Drake's PC
I
said,
would just like to pause and put some lawyers speak on that opinions expressed on the crossover are not advice, and therefore you should talk to your accountant and your family before you make big moves like that.
there you go. Not advice. You heard it here first.
This is like not an investment advice show. Is that what you're saying too?
Oh, yeah. This is nothing. This show is nothing. You should listen to nothing. Don't listen to anything we're saying.
Everyone's going to start selling their mantles. Hopefully not. Well, they will anyways, because there's 2,700 of them, so I can't really stop that, flood.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I would caution this. I would say for so many people, myself included, for a long time, the hobby was something that I did for a few hours a day, at most, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a great place for it to be for most people. I knew that it was that I could handle more when I started doing the podcast. When I started doing the House of Jordans podcast, I realized I could handle more. Can you read what Mark said?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So Mark said, quitting my job tomorrow. What hobby business am I starting? That reminds me of I think I used this one last week where Michael was like, yeah, I haven't got the job yet, but I'm gonna. So I sold my condo on eBay.
That's good. Yeah. So, or like Istanbul Card says, we're just think of us as the Seinfeld of hobby content. This show is literally not about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Seinfeld sucks.
But oh no.
We're gonna end up in a dark alley, like we're like shitting on Seinfeld and Mickey Mantle, like
we're gonna pay for all these takes one day.
So we're just gonna hey, we're just gonna be at a show, the three of us walking down an aisle at a card show. Hey, you three, you're the ones that said Seinfeld and Mickey Mantle and fucking, I don't know who you hate, Chris, but you guys suck.
All right. Drake's PC says, question for all three. What is a parallel that is loved by the hobby that you dislike? And then I said, okay, Drake, well, what's your answer? And his answer is a parallel that is loved by the hobby but that he dislikes. He says he's not a huge fan of the rave and the super rave.
Because they're kind of plain. Like, if the change isn't enough, it's just like the lettering.
Yep. Could be. He didn't give a reason why, but that's what he came up with, rave and super rave.
You guys are just trying to get me in trouble tonight. You're just like, what else do you hate that everyone loves? Literally, the question is like, what do you hate that everyone loves? Like the cheese.
That's Drake's question, Josh. Is like, all right, take something that everybody loves and hate on it, please. Shit on it.
I got one.
Chris, I knew Christina would be the first to answer this
She's
question.
like, this is my favorite question
like,
ever.
Go twice.
The jersey match.
Oh my, the
Ooh.
jersey match.
Yeah, because it's not consistent. So and then sometimes people will be like, oh, the Mavs are blue, jersey match blue, but Maxi Kleber is in a green jersey. So what's the jersey match there, guys?
Green.
Exactly, but people don't associate Mavericks with green. So I'm gonna say the jersey match because it's too nuanced and picture specific.
Fine, a totally fine answer, Christina. Josh, are you ready?
Yes, but you go.
Okay.
I'm tired of getting beat up.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm gonna up the ante.
Oh, finally. Let's go. You take some heat. Let's go. Mine's going to be soft compared to yours.
I'm up in the ante. I'm tired of Josh getting all the hate. I need some hate on me.
Such a good.
Okay, let's bring some hate my way. Because this question calls for just like one parallel that is loved in the hobby, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of them.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to say any unnumbered parallel I hate. If it's unnumbered, I hate it.
Tricolor.
Tricolor, but
hold on. The question is it beloved? Are unnumbered parallels beloved?
Of course they are. Topps Chrome Refractors.
Okay.
Prism Silvers. And, when I look at like the checklist for 2022 Prism Football, as we've been adding some of the QBs from that year into the verified ladder database, there's like all these unnumbered parallels that bother me.
Galactic?
Like blue. I'm sorry, but yeah, Galactic is going to have to get swept into this.
Yeah.
Yep, White Sparkle. Oh, Lord. Oh, no. I mean, this
so you could have said, you should have said, I hate Prism Silvers, Chrome Refractors, Galactic. That's the headline where people are just like, what? Chris said he hates refractors? The clickbait title.
I wanted to make sure everybody who every unnumbered got an equal, got to absorb part of the blow.
You just want that shrapnel everywhere.
Steve Heat says, so if it's numbered, then the purple disco is just fine, huh?
So you would rather have the purple disco than a Galactic? That's what I'm hearing.
No, that's not this. That's not what the question is asking. The question is just asking, what is a beloved parallel that you dislike? I'm not saying that I'd rather have one or the other. I'm just saying that's unnumbered parallels. Put the number on it. Just tell us how many there are. Damn it.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you. The Galactic it's like, especially when you've been doing it as long as we have, like you've gotten to the point where most of your cards are numbered, and it's like, I like these, but damn it, they're not numbered, so I just can't, it doesn't fit anymore.
Amen. All right, what's yours?
It's not going to be a good one, Chris. I'm going to take all the hate right back away from you. I should have had you go last. You remember it.
Come on.
All right, it's the Nebula.
Oh, yeah. All right, go on.
It's the Nebula. Here's why. It's a very, as Christina said, nuanced answer. The reason is that everything was fine with the Black and the Finite. Why'd you have to go add another one? And why am I supposed to now care about 2 one-of-ones? I liked it when we had one. And I know we've got all these other ones, the Shimmer and the whatever, but the Nebula somehow has weaseled its way into being like almost equal to the Black, whereas we just sort of like brush the other ones aside. And I don't think that's fair to the Black. And I think the Nebula is a little bit tacky. Cover your ears. I think it kind of reminds me of like the tiger stripes, and like it's a little bit tacky. There you are. I said it.
Fair enough. Look, Drake wanted to bring out the hate, and he got it.
That's fine, but Nebula is still my favorite.
Your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite one of one for Prism.
How many maxi? You have one maxi Nebula? 2? Nice. Okay.
They look awesome. They look sweet.
Well, the reason it's my favorite is because I was a huge space nerd as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So it ties that into it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I listened to your. We should have brought up your episode with. This would have been the time, because Brett is doing a series on parallels on his show, and I think you were the first episode. Is that right?
I was the guinea pig. I don't know. I couldn't tell if he just came up with that idea like on the spot, or if he had been planning it or not. But yeah, I mean, that's such a great menu of episodes you can do if you just like focus a bunch of different episodes on different parallels. That's going to be really good.
It's going to be amazing collector content. When he posted the story about it, I was like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of all the amazing episodes and who I want to be representing each parallel. And I listened to the Black Finite one with you today. And yeah, that's kind of why I came to Nebula. It's like the Black Finite's so awesome. Why did we feel we had to add the Nebula? Like we already had the Black Finite. I love the Black Finite so much for football. And I love that football gets the Black Finite to itself too.
Yeah.
It just is so great.
Yeah. I've always had envy of the Black Finite in football. And I wish basketball was a Black Finite, and I wish it was only one of one for basketball too. But it's not, unfortunately. Okay. Joe Poirot says, notwithstanding rarity, do you prefer the aesthetics of gold or of black parallels? And if both gold and black were one of ones, in that case, which one would you prefer?
So I'm supposed to put myself in a vacuum and pick my favorite aesthetic, right?
That's what he's driving at, yes.
Yeah. I would go gold, but it's just like so hard to picture the gold as a 101. It's just so strange to me. Like it's really hard to remove myself from that, isn't it?
It's really hard to do that. And it's like I replied to Joe and I said, it's a provocative question, but it reminds me of asking who would be the best basketball player if everybody was 6 foot. And like, it's an interesting thought experiment, and it sort of recasts debates about who is good at basketball. But at the end of the day, not everybody's 6 foot. Some people are 6'6", some people are 6'10", some people are 7'2", and that provides them with advantages. And the analogy there is that it's so hard to compare, just isolate just aesthetics and compare, because the fact of the matter is one of them only has one copy, is a masterpiece, and the other one has 10 or 25 or 50 or 99 or whatever the particular gold parallel we're talking about has. So just, but I talked to him a little bit about it actually. And he was saying, look, his point of view was like, look, he said he's recently come to like black parallels, and that even if the black parallel was not the only one of one, or maybe if the black was out of 10 and the gold was out of 10 or something, even then he says sometimes he likes the black better, sometimes he likes the gold better. It kind of depends on the card.
Isn't there an optic black at a 25 or something?
Yeah, there's an optic black velocity.
Yeah, does anyone care about that card?
Not many.
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely, and yeah, the basketball one is an interesting topic because here's the problem with it. Like, let's just take Shaq for example. He's huge, right? Make him 6 feet, but he has built his entire career and how he plays and the skills that he's decided to master around his height. Like, he doesn't care about dribbling and being really good at dribbling because he's 7'2". So like if you made him 6 feet, he's going to be terrible because now he has to dribble and he's never practiced. He's never like done that skill. It doesn't make any sense. You're like basing your game around your height.
Yeah.
And it's similar with this where like we need the Black Finite as the 101. It's put all of its eggs in the 101 basket. If you put it in something else, we don't even know what it's going to do with it. Like it doesn't have the, it's like putting it in a different pond, just like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Okay. Thank you, Joe, for that question. Cards and Candy 911 making a comeback.
Oh, comeback.
What is a good percentage to be paid if you find a buyer for somebody's $20,000 card?
Man, 0 would be nice if we were just like all friends and stuff. I don't know.
You should pay them for the right to shop their card.
I don't know. I always feel like 5 is fair in this case. Like, I think I've used that number in the past before a few times.
5% or $500?
5%.
5%, which would be $1,000 in this case.
What would you do if someone found you a $20,000 Grail? Would you tip them if they didn't ask for it?
I would, but I wouldn't think to tip them $1,000. That would be a lot. That would be a lot.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's like
Or maybe not. I don't know.
5% if it's like if it was $1,000 card, you might give them $50.
Yeah.
But if it's 20,000, you're like, all right, dude, you can have $200. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know if finder's fees or seller's fees or middleman fees scale well.
Yeah.
I think like for $1,000 card, I could see myself throwing somebody $100 if I like really, if it was a really tough card or something and they did a great job or something. But like for $100,000 card, I'm not throwing 10,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. This is why I always was so confused by auction houses where they would make like $100,000 in commission on $1 million card, and they did the same work as if they sold a $10 card. They scan the card, they put it in their vault, they put it in a box to ship it. Like it's obviously not exactly the same because they market it more, etc. But like, come on, $100,000 versus like $1, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So there's this new thing called tipping fatigue that Americans are going through. Because everywhere you go, including like Subway, people are asking for tips.
Yeah.
This just reminds me of that.
And they're like guilting you, right, Christina? It's like, which box do you choose? Oh, if you choose no tip, you have to like go click other and like hit. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and they like stare at you while you do it.
Yeah.
Further proof that money is worthless. And I think that the employees don't even benefit from that. I think that's going straight to the house, isn't it?
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
This is totally random. How have we not talked about Aaron Rodgers yet and the alternate universe that we're in?
Believe it or not, he didn't get a single question.
Because it was on Monday, because it was so long ago. But like, when he sat down, I was like, first of all, I was like, that's an Achilles. Second of all, I was like, Chris is right. We are in a freaking alternate universe. He was right all along. This is so weird. It was like, there was so much buildup for Aaron Rodgers with Hard Knocks, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to watch this. And I like was just sitting down, and then he was sitting down with me. This is so crazy. What did you think of that?
Well, it's funny. Brett and I were recording our episode during that game.
Oh.
Yeah. So I didn't even see it happen as it was happening. Shout out to Brett for moving that around, by the way, to do it on Monday night. But yeah, that happened, and because Brett wanted to do Tuesday night and I couldn't. I had to move it to Monday night. But I don't know, man. You know what was probably going to happen though, and I have to credit Bill Simmons sort of for the inspiration of this take, is that what was probably going to happen was Aaron Rodgers was going to look old and slow, and he was going to underwhelm, and it was probably going to be an underwhelming season.
Wow.
I hear that. I hear that take. I hear you, but like the Jets didn't need him to be like a world beater.
That's true. That's very true.
Like you can't in the modern football, you can't just have like an average quarterback. So like they needed him to be good. You're right. Like he couldn't just be Trent Dilfer and win championship with the Ravens or Brad Johnson or something. But like he didn't need to be Mahomes necessarily.
I think that's a totally valid point.
But he did the first 4 snaps. That was Simmons' take. He did look slow, and like his take was basically like he got injured on that play because he was old and slow, and like he couldn't get away from the sack, and like he couldn't even like fall properly. You know what I mean?
Yep. And we love Bill. I religiously listen to his podcast, but I'm gonna have to call him out.
Oh. You're just like you can't even say one nice thing about Bill without immediately following it up with.
First of all, I love Bill's podcast. No one can do what he does, and he gets. And I'm so glad that he pumps out like 6 to 8 hours worth of podcasts every week. Like that's so needed. It's so needed. But I caught him complimenting himself on his last podcast that he predicted he did well overall on what teams were going to be good this year.
Steelers.
And I'm just going back to that Steelers take, and I'm like, what about that take? Can we like really just deal with that take? Because like there were weeks of buildup to how the Steelers were his team, and he kept building up and he kept building up. And then the Steelers just didn't have it. And they're playing the Browns this weekend, and I'm predicting a slaughter.
It's like a must-win for the Steelers.
Dude, it is. It is. We'll do some picks again, and we could recap our picks from last time.
Yeah, let's do it. I can't believe we haven't talked about football. It's because of this like Friday night thing. We're just like ready for next week's football. But I had so much fun on Sunday watching football and watching my fantasy team get absolutely decimated. I scored more points last night than I did in my whole first week. Did you notice that?
No, dude, that's wild. That is wild. Yeah, it was a weird first week for a lot of reasons. So I already, Mohammed already had asked me to tally these up because he's very interested in this. And I feel like Sal, you know how Sal's always like, if he wins, he feels so bad. He's like, sorry, Bill.
Yeah, because Bill used to always beat him. He's right. But the last 2 years, Sal's been killing him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was 11-4, and you were 8-7 in week one.
Well, there you go.
But considering week one had a ton of upsets and stuff, I don't know if it's good or not to have been right.
We'll see. If I knew, okay. Well, so now I know we're tallying. Now I'm just gonna pick all the favorites because we were picking like more fun takes.
Yes. Yeah. No, we were loose and having fun with it last week, but we will focus in on this one. This is the official start. Last week was
no, it's fine. We'll add them all up. We'll add them all up. In the 18 weeks, this will be a blip.
Okay. Ravens at Bengals.
Oh, we're going now. Bengals.
I want the Ravens.
Wow.
Even though they've got guys out, offensive line stuff, I know it all.
That's the one that I definitely beat you at last week. The other ones you won, but that's the only one I beat you last week because I talking about Bengals slow start, and you're on the Bengals slow start train.
Oh yeah, dude, I have done a 180 on the Bengals. I am so unimpressed by them right now.
Did anyone look worse?
Dude, that's maybe the Bears.
The Steelers, the Bears, and the Bengals were the three worst teams.
Yeah,
and the Giants. Sorry, Giants fans. That was definitely the worst. They were so bad.
The Giants got 0.
40-0.
All right. Seahawks at Lions.
At the Lions.
At the Lions. I did not see Mohammed's comment.
He says that you gotta make sure that you do week 3 Thursday too, because you won't.
Okay.
Well, I picked the Eagles.
Okay. You took the Eagles. Okay.
I didn't tell you about it.
Okay, we'll give that to you. All right. Seahawks at Lions.
It's your turn. We're snaking it again.
My turn. Lions.
Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs was my favorite player to watch in week one. He's on my fantasy team, so I'm biased, but like he's so fun to watch.
He's good, dude. For losing DeAndre Swift, but replacing him with Gibbs, not bad.
Seahawks look terrible too.
Colts at Texans.
Colts at Texans. Give me the Texans. The Colts look pretty good week one, but Texans.
I'll take the Colts just because this is a trash heap and it's a coin flip.
What does Simmons call it? He's so good at this kind of stuff. He like names them.
So good at it. He calls it unwatchables or
yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, it's like the watchables, unwatchable. Oh yeah, he's got it all.
Okay. Bears at Buccaneers.
Bears at Buccaneers. Man. I can't believe the Vikings lost at home to the Bucks. The Vikings might be trash. Give me I just can't make the Bucks be 2-0. Like that's just so ridiculous. Baker Mayfield sucks. Give me the Bucks. I guess they'll be 2-0. I don't know how. The Bears.
I'm taking the Bucks as well. I think the Bucks are gonna do well. Chiefs.
2-0.
Yeah, it's 2-0's loading for the Chiefs at Jaguars.
Chiefs at Jaguars. Dude, no way the Chiefs go 0-2. I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs as well. All right. Christina makes her first entry for the Jags.
There we go.
Packers and Falcons.
Well, first of all, did you see the Travis Kelce video where he like pretended that his knee got tweaked and he did the like dance?
Oh my god, I did not. And
Have you seen this?
That is very cruel.
It's like a TikTok thing where Jefferson did it last year where like you pretend to be hurt, as your part of your dance. It's like fantasy owners are like, that's hilarious, but please don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what was the game?
He's trying to date Taylor Swift.
I did hear that.
What do you mean trying to? Like he put out an open invitation?
On his podcast with his brother, he was like upset that he went to the Taylor Swift concert and wasn't able to like talk to her because she doesn't talk to people before or after the shows, and he had made her a friendship bracelet with his phone number on it.
Taylor Swift would be lucky to date that gladiator.
Dude, Kelsey's a beast.
All right. Next game is Packers at Falcons. Or Falcons, if you prefer.
I feel like it's your turn. We've totally screwed up this week.
I'm taking the Packers.
Packers at Falcons. Desmond Ridder sure as shit ain't going 2-0. Packers.
Raiders at Bills.
Oh, Bills are going to win by 20.
Yeah, I like the Bills there too. The Raiders did impress me in week 1, though. Chargers at Titans.
Your turn.
I'd love to take against the Chargers here, but I'm not a fool. Chargers.
Can I undo my AFC pick after 1 week and say the Chargers might suck?
You may not.
Okay. That was they were in that game. Their defense is so bad, though, and their coach is a defensive coach. But I have to take the Chargers. Let's just keep it going. 1 more week. Come on, Chargers. Stop sucking.
49ers at Rams.
We're trying to win this now, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I would have picked the Rams if this was more fun. But, like, come on.
Taking the Rams.
Yeah, because the Rams are my second favorite team. I've always loved the Rams. I always root for them. But, like, and I felt good because Stafford looked amazing last week. He was healthy again. Slinging it. People are shitting all over the Rams, and they dominated the Seahawks. I felt good about that. But the Niners are so much better.
You got the Niners then?
Yeah.
So do I. All right. Giants at Cardinals.
It's your turn.
Damn, this is a tough one. But you know what, man? I was. What did Owen say? I flag planted for the Rams last week. I'm going to flag plan for the Giants here. The Giants are not the team that we saw on Monday Night Football. They're still a good team. They still have a good coach. They still have a decent quarterback, and he's got a few weapons with Waller and Barkley. I like the Giants to right the ship here.
Well, the Cardinals don't have many wins on their schedule. If you look at their schedule, I don't know where they're going to get 4 wins. This is going to be one of them. Giants suck.
Nice.
Cardinals beat them at home.
Okay. Jets at Cowboys.
Oh, my God. Cowboys looked like world beaters, didn't they?
Defensively, yes.
They didn't even need, like, they're like, Dak, just don't even, we're going to win this game. Just throw in the dirt. We're fine. I just can't picture Zach Wilson, like, surviving. I've got to take the Cowboys.
All right. You got the boys, and
Do it.
it's such
Do
a
it.
Dallas Cowboys thing to, like, win 40-0 week 1 and then lose this game at home. So let's just have a lot of fun with this, and I'm taking the Jets.
And, dude, all the, like, talk is, like, I think this is, you know what, every year we say it, but this is actually the year the Cowboys look like the best team. You know what I mean? That's, like, the current, and they're just going to lose.
It would be so awesome. All right. Skip Bayless would be in hell.
Yeah.
Which is where I want him. All right. Commanders and Broncos.
Your turn.
I have the Broncos.
I think Russell Wilson is cooked. Give me the Commanders.
Okay. The Commanders only being the Cardinals by 4 was a big red flag for me. All right.
Man, you were just like my Cardinals.
Yeah, I am. Yep. Actually,
We have the two worst teams in the NFL, possibly.
That's an open debate. The jury's out on who's worse, but it's one of those two. Dolphins and Patriots.
Simmons is he's getting very excitable about his Patriots. He's like, I'm gonna trust Bill. Let's go Patriots.
Nice, because I got the Dolphins big.
Big? Okay. Big. What does big mean? What does that mean?
At least 2 scores.
Do you want to bet on that?
I don't know. I'd have to see what odds I can get.
You giving me an adjusted line to -15? Let's go.
Yeah, I gotta see what my book would give me. Okay, Saints.
Tyreek, early MVP.
Yeah, that annoys me. I don't like that. I don't like the Tyreek for MVP talk after just 1 week. Because, like,
you want to wait till week 2?
Well, Tyreek is liable. I love Tyreek, my favorite wide receiver of this era. But he could go for 30 yards next week. And then we wasted all that breath about Tyreek for MVP. Okay? So let's not do that. All right. Saints at Panthers.
Is it your turn?
I have the Saints. I think the Panthers are awful.
Yes, the Panthers actually might be the worst team in the league. Saints.
And then the other Monday night game is the Browns at Steelers.
Did you say the other Monday night game?
Yep, there's 2 Monday night games.
They usually do that week 1. Weird. Browns at what?
Steelers.
Oh, man. Must win. It's at the Steelers?
At the Steelers.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine 0-2, 2 home games? Bill would just be, like, crying in a corner.
That's what I'm hoping.
You're going to take the Browns, so I'll take the Steelers.
Nice. All right. And then we'll do the Thursday night game as well, Mohammed's request, which is Giants at 49ers. I don't think this one's too tough.
Okay, go ahead and mark us down for the same.
Giants. Got it.
Saquon Barkley.
All right. That was brought to you by FanDuel. No, all right. Back.
You have to do like a 2-minute thing about like FanDuel and then read like the phone numbers you have to call if you're needing gambling help and all that shit. How good are you at the 15-second? How good are you at the 15-second thing?
I'm a master. I know that I can get right to the end of that Pearl Jam song within 5 seconds.
The Pearl Jam song is about 15 seconds too.
Yep, I can zoom right in. What about a hotline for hobby degenerate addicts?
It's just one number. Christina, give me your phone number right now.
That's right. I guess that hotline already sort of exists.
Yeah, it's just like her phone number. Coming up.
We've got a question here from Basketball Card Collector 93. What is the furthest you've ever traveled to acquire a card, and what was the experience like, and would you do it again?
You're going to crush me on travel time and probably distance. But which is for
time, because I'm always driving, so that's not quite.
Yeah. Well, you did that one where you drove down through Louisiana or something?
Yes, I did.
For a Christian McCaffrey card?
For his optic gold vinyl rookie.
We also drove out to LA.
But yeah, I think, can you really count that? Because we were already in Vegas for something. I think you can only credit us, our trip to LA, you can only credit us the distance from Vegas to LA because we were already in Vegas.
The Louisiana trip, we were on our way to Vegas.
No.
We just left early to go to Louisiana.
Louisiana is not on the way to Las Vegas.
There was Dallas or something. You went like.
Good point, Christina.
You went like.
It was Dallas for you, Josh?
You went like Illinois down to Louisiana.
Yeah, and then out to Vegas.
But it was part of a different trip to Vegas.
But still, that's like way out of the way.
It is way out of the way.
That's what like $100 card.
If I'm lucky, yeah.
Well, I wasn't making funny. You did that thing with Brett where you were like, more than half my cards cards are
McCaffrey,
but it's like 4% of your value.
Yes.
I think you've said that to me before, but it's just like staggering to hear it.
Yeah.
I think Steve actually has the right answer.
Well, and Brett calls those like little $100 McCaffreys dopamine hits.
That was not my card was not $100, but
no, that one was a little bit more than that. Okay.
Which is further, Portland, Oregon, or Houston, Texas?
From Phoenix? How far is Phoenix to?
I guess it was Austin. It wasn't Houston. I can't tell the difference between all those stinking cities. It was Austin.
It was Austin, Texas?
I got the LeBron Gold in Austin, and then the LeBron RPA I flew to POUCC, which is in Oregon.
Both of those are so Phoenix to Austin is 1,000 miles. Phoenix to Portland is 1,200. That's pretty good. Let's see what it is. Chicago to Denver. That might have been the longest one that we've done.
That wasn't associated with any trip.
Yeah.
Well, that was just there and back.
Yep. And we went to a game. Oh, that's only 1,000 miles. So Phoenix to Portland is the biggest one right now. Let's see.
That one that's not as exciting because it's to a vault. Like it's just going straight to the person's home where the card is a more exciting story.
Yeah. Phoenix to Portland is definitely the winner here. That was over 1,200 miles, but to a vault. But nonetheless, I think that's going to be the winner here. Oh, we also went to New York to get a card.
Oh, yeah.
What's the distance from Chicago to New York? I don't think that's going to go over 1,200 miles either, though.
No, it's too short.
800 miles. Yep.
I don't want to take the win. That's what I'm saying. Like the miles versus like you guys drove from Illinois to Louisiana. That was like a haul.
Yeah, that was definitely a haul. Okay. Let's. Stiff says, wasn't that Texas to Denver? No, it was not, Stiff. All right. Next question here from Slab Daddy. What are your thoughts on getting cooked on a PC Grail to make sure you keep it out of the flipper's vortex?
Like overpaying?
I guess so. Getting cooked, whatever you interpret that to mean.
I think this is your kind of a question.
This question is great because it's thinking about the well-being of the hobby, and it's thinking about and it's rooted in a level of pettiness that I can appreciate. But I'm not gonna go out of my way. Like if I want the card, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get the card. But I'm not gonna like go get a card. That's a high tax to pay for the sake of keeping a card out of the flipper's vortex. It is worth it to keep cards out of the flipper's vortex, but it's tough, man. If I know one guy's got it and he wants 2x what it's worth, and I know that if it just kind of gets sent to auction a few times, it's going to eventually come down to a more realistic price. Yeah. It's tough to just swallow that and pay off the flipper who's just going to go buy a Rolex or something with the profits. Is that really what we want? Is that even good for the hobby? Because that money is leaving.
Yeah. I feel like maybe people get the impression that like we'll just like massively overpay because we're collectors, but I mean we have a limit. Like, hey, put on this clown suit and I'll give you the card. It's like, all right, come on, man. Like, I've got my limits.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. What's the furthest you'd go? Not money wise, dude. For that Gem Masters Jordan.
Would you get? Hold on a second. No, I gotta.
I'd skydive.
It's like me getting the. You. I was gonna say like a roller coaster or something, but skydive is good. I like that.
Yep. Yes.
So you like get in you can get in a plane and then jump out of that perfectly working plane to free fall to the earth, hoping that when you pull a thin cord,
no, they wouldn't let him jump by himself.
Yeah, I would have a pro with me. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. We
have to fly fly from here to whatever's the complete opposite of China, nonstop.
Yeah, I would get on. That's fine. I would do that. I would throw a knotted rope, 150 feet down, or however many feet down this is, and scale the wall to this apartment building with no harness, just my bare hands.
This is so good. I love this topic right now.
I would train for it, though. I would not just do it right now. I would train for it. I'd practice.
Right. And safety is, of course, priority number one, right?
And don't take anything we say to mean anything.
So mine would be like getting into a pit of like non-venomous snakes. That'd be like my ultimate, just like the last thing I would want to do.
Oh, man.
For that LeBron, how long do I have to be in the pit?
You tell us.
You know those like yellow and white snakes? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Gardeners?
Those.
No. Sorry.
The boa constrictor.
The boa constrictor?
I think they're called like albino snakes or something. They're disgusting. They're white and yellow.
Yeah, they look very poisonous.
I don't think they're poisonous. They're just absolutely disgusting. One time I walked into a PetSmart or something and there was one on the ground and I literally left the store. I was like, nope, I'm out of here. You guys are fucking nuts. No way.
Granite Burmese python.
Gross. Like 5 minutes, I'd probably do it. Oh my god. Would you do that?
Dude, yeah, once you go down that lane, like, quick story, when we were coming back from the Burbank Card Show, we stopped overnight in a town, I won't name the town, in a small town in New Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Dude, we went up to our room, the fire alarm was the fire alarm was chirping, so that battery had to be changed. I don't know when the last time that room was cleaned was, because how long had that battery been chirping for? Probably for longer than just that day. And then, we settled in or whatever, that was fine. And then I don't remember.
We were going to change rooms.
Oh yeah, we needed to change. God, okay, thank you. We needed to change rooms because of the fire alarm chirping. So, and the elevator was like really creaky and scary. So we were just like, we're only on the third floor. We'll just take the stairs. We go into the stairwell, and in the corner of the stairwell is a tarantula the size of my fist. Just
oh my
big,
god.
horrible tarantula just sitting in the corner, in the upper corner, and it was so bad. And we were like, all right, well, we're not changing rooms. I think we'll just move. We'll politely move on from this hotel, because could you imagine waking up and just like a tarantula is on the ceiling above you? So we we checked out, and when we told the receptionist that we were checking out, she was like, yeah, I'll just go pick it up with my bare hands and get it out of here. So if you bring tarantulas into the equation, I don't know how long I could last with spiders and snakes and stuff for a card. That's tough.
Yeah. But was it you and me that were talking? You could have just crushed that guy. Their skeletons are so weak.
Yeah. Yep. They are weak. That's no doubt. But still.
A pit of tarantulas.
I don't even want to think about that stuff anymore.
Hey, come on! It's the MJ. It's the Gem Master. You got to do the unthinkable here.
Man. Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting nervous thinking about this. This is never going to happen. So.
Did you ever watch the show Fear Factor with Joe Rogan?
Remember that show? I watched it. Yep.
My mom and I used to watch the show when I was a kid, and we'd always be like, "Would you do that?" And we'd be like, "Nope, none of these. Absolutely not. They're all horrible."
Okay. Yep. I'm not doing any of those either. All right. I'm getting nervous. I'm sweating just thinking about all this stuff. It's awful. This is bad.
Scaling a building, though. You're scaling the building. You're just like, let's do this. I'll learn how to do this. Yeah. I don't care. Jump out of a plane. You're fine.
Yep. Don't introduce.
Man, we don't give
pythons and tarantulas, please.
We don't give you enough credit, Chris. We just don't do it. Yep.
Thank you. I've been saying that for a long time. All right.
The word I would use for you is hero.
Yeah.
Bravery.
Yep.
It's, Mantle?
Exemplar. Cultural icon.
Yeah.
All right. Iconoclast. Okay. Hudson Cards 35 says, what's your strategy when it comes to trading down and liquidating for a card? What type of cards are you looking for when you are downgrading your PC? I interpret this to mean, what's your strategy when it comes to trading down and liquidating for a card? So, like, what cards do you look for in your PC that you're going to get rid of first? That's how I interpreted this.
Oh, I interpret it as like, I'm trying to sell a Grail, but the guy will only take trade, so I'm looking for stuff that I can liquidate later.
Okay. Well, how do you answer if that's the question?
I don't know. I haven't really gone down that path, but boring cards that you can easily send to auction. What was it? Yours is more interesting.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I didn't understand the question. I just tried to find something that fits. And to me, this is like an age-old answer. It's just the cards that are most easily replaceable are the ones to go first, and then after that, it's just sort of the ones that I like the least are the ones to go next if they're equally replaceable.
It's kind of the same answer. Like if you were trading into other cards that you knew you just wanted to immediately sell and get cash, you're just looking for one. You're looking for stuff that's easily replaceable, like ones that you can sell easily. Just get rid of them.
Exactly. 1956.
Like the opposite of what you do with Coleman.
Yeah, exactly. 1956 Tops Guy says, what is your collecting time horizon? When are you done? In 1, 5, 10, 20 years?
This was the guy that I had pretty decent debate with about the Mantle thing. He was fair, and we went back and forth for a while and just kind of agreed to disagree. Time horizon? Well, let's see. Average age expectancy of a male, like 85 these days, minus 30, so 50 more years.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's I struggle with the concept of even putting a limit on it. I think if I want to be done collecting, I'll just know, but I have no desire to be done collecting. None.
What are you having for lunch? How do you know?
I am not even close to knowing. I don't. Yeah, you know this. I don't. I couldn't even tell you what time I'll be going to bed tonight. I couldn't even tell you. What do I know? The level of planning is so minimal. I know that.
I hope you brush your teeth tomorrow. Can we pencil you in for that?
We're just, I like to live on the wild side. We'll see.
Gingivitis is a big fun thing for you.
That's going to be, my time horizon is when gingivitis takes me out.
Takes you out. Chris has finally been stricken down by the dreaded gingivitis. 4 out of 5. You didn't listen to those 4 out of 5 dentists, you dummy.
You know what? Have I told you what I think about dentists and the hobby?
A few hundred times, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's safe to say I was not listening.
If there was oh god, this is gonna get me in trouble. So a dentist and a kid. Which one are you getting rid of from the hobby?
What do you mean getting rid of? I can. What do you mean?
You could just snap your fingers and make kids out of the hobby or dentists out of the hobby.
Well, look, the reason why I take exception to certain individuals under the age of the majority is because they have better cards than me and they outbid me at auction for them, and then they make money off of them and they just put them further out of my reach.
So less competition if you get rid of the kids.
Less competition if I get rid of some of the kids. But the issue with the dentist is kind of similar because some of them are hoarding Michael Jordan cards, and Michael Jordan attracts a lot of dentist collectors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how about both? How about we just get rid of both?
Well, we figured out what the gentleman carrying the bat following us into the dark alley will be shouting at for you. For me, it's Mantle. For Christina, it's Seinfeld. And for you, it's kids.
When you said the gentleman walking into the dark alley with a bat, I connected it to the great hobby dentist, Bank of Rick, who also collects bats. So he would actually already have a bat to take me out with.
There you go.
Does he like Seinfeld? Are we all going to be, like, is he going to be, like, all of our nemesis? Or
A Mickey Mantle signed bat.
This bat?
I love irony. Oh, I wish it was Mickey Mantle, because that would just be, I love irony, I love that I don't like Mickey Mantle, and he's beating me with a Mickey Mantle bat. One of the most menacing things you can do with a bat is drag it along the floor. Was he doing that?
No, but I can picture him doing that.
Wouldn't that be menacing? You're just like, man, this guy means business. He's dragging that thing on the floor.
If a shadowy figure starts dragging a bat towards us in an alleyway,
dude, you'd be like, who signed that bat? And as he's wailing you over the head with it, he's like, here, look for yourself. Bam.
All right. Tiger Jordan 311 asks, what's an example of a card you wanted really bad, but you could not obtain, and then you eventually lost interest in it?
Oh, I feel like this is you love this. Like, I feel like this has happened to you a lot. Is it the StarQuest Gold? Is that yours?
Which one?
StarQuest Gold?
No, I've got a way more controversial answer.
Oh, is it the one you said to me earlier?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You can't say that out loud. You are gonna get beat over the head. Say it. You go first. Go ahead. You can't even say it. You're just like, boom.
Look, I think this card has been out of sight. Well, I mean, this card has been out of reach for far too long, and it is time that I gave up on it, and I heel turn, I pivot into despising it. And that is the PMG Green Michael Jordan. But part of this revelation, on a more serious tip, part of this revelation has been that I've just developed an appreciation for the playing days, 97 and 98. Do you consider 98 playing days? It's like a gray area. Obviously, he didn't play in that season, but also, obviously, there was a holdout. He didn't retire until January of 1998, and there was still licensing available for those products to make his cards. So it's like, it is a gray area, okay? So 10 playing days base set, one of ones, and I just think a lot of those, or a decent number of those, has a really good claim to be Michael Jordan's best card.
You said 10?
10.
How many PMG Greens are there?
10. Yep.
I was thinking the whole time while you're talking, I couldn't come up. So a card that has like been out of my reach and I just never got it.
Yep.
I guess that LeBron logo man that we showed earlier. I mean, I never really had a real chance at getting it. Kind of like you never had a real chance to get the green.
Exactly.
So
never have, never will. And this kind of like leads me to a dark place hobby-wise.
Oh,
or
no.
A dark or a bright place, just depending upon your perspective. It leads me to, hey, Christina and I are very grateful and fortunate to have a great Michael Jordan collection, but it is not a collection that offers a card that could even come close to being said to be Michael Jordan's best card, and it's not a collection that could be said to be close to being one of the best Michael Jordan collections. And that's okay. And for a long time, I liked that. I enjoyed the comfort of being somewhere in the middle. But now I just have a hunger to want to do what some of these great collectors did by, getting into cards that are coming out at the same time that they're collecting and having a real shot to have the best card of some players. Like, dude, the Michael Jordan Gem Masters 1/1 is never going to be made publicly available. It's never going to be made available to me. And if it is ever made available to me, they're just going to take my offer and give it to somebody who has much more money than me and say, this guy's willing to pay this, and I know you'll pay more. So how much more are you going to pay? I'll never get that card. And for PMG Green, it's probably going to play out the same way too. So that leads me to want to find areas of this hobby where I can have a legitimate shot to get the best card of a player because I'm doing it close to the release of the card so that it will hopefully hit the market at least once or twice. And then it's of a player or from a set or so, you know, more so of a player that has a chance to grow and flourish and become something great, but maybe they aren't great quite yet. Because if they are, then I'm priced out. So I've developed an appetite for that, and that's led me down player collecting. The two players that's led me to were, well, the one player that led me to was Jokic. That's always sort of been the approach to Jokic. Luka was a player that we stumbled into collecting. McCaffrey was a player that when prices got crazy and I wanted a stake in football like you had, I wanted to go get a football guy to collect who was affordable too. But yeah, I mean, that's where this thinking kind of leads me, Josh.
Yeah.
And I like what Deca 99 says. Collecting ultra modern is a dangerous game. Yeah, it is, man. Dude, we were looking in the Jordan group chat. We were looking at Frankie was sending an old Beckett magazine article of how when an Antoine Walker Topps Chrome rookie refractor was worth more than the Michael Jordan from the set.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you can certainly anticipate that playing out in this era too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens all the time. Like a Mahomes non-rookie versus a pick your favorite quarterback that's a rookie.
Yeah, exactly right. So, all right, man, let's go here. Dormant stash booklets, yay or nay?
Oh, big nay. Especially when they're in those giant Beckett slabs. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah. See, you could fight off a person in a dark alley with a bat if you had a Beckett booklet slab.
Bring it on, Rick.
Timmy D 21 PC says, under what circumstances would you sell every card that you own?
So like what brand of yacht becomes available? Is that the question? So like if a yacht became available or
if
your
Bitcoin
a bigger
price alert hits 25,000.
Like how nice is the shit box we're talking about here?
Oh man, it's got a lot of tubes.
Ugh. The best kind, like oh man. Are the tubes hidden?
Totally obscured. Although that's a great question. How about a house design that exposes and has transparent tubing?
I'm just picturing a plumber coming to your apartment and you're like, hey, I think there's an issue with the tubes. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's like, the tubes that deliver the poop out of my apartment. He's like, you mean he's like, no, the tubes. He's like, they're called pipes.
Yes.
Chris called it the shit box this week when he was saying, like, oh, you're cleaning the shit box. Yeah, he already does that, is what I'm trying to get.
Why are you here? And you guys don't have a cat, to be clear.
No, he meant just the bathroom. I was cleaning the bathroom, and he was like, oh, you're cleaning the shit box. I was like, I hope you're not shitting in this entire box. There's a place for that, sir.
It's the one specific water hole.
Into the
tubes.
All right. The Bouvier asks, when talking about all-time great wide receivers, no one in the hobby mentions Steve Largent. Why?
I barely even know who that is.
Right, exactly. I legitimately I hadn't thought about Steve Largent probably ever in my life until we pulled one of his cards from a Panini One box that we won in one of those pack battles at Bullpen LA, maybe like 4 years ago or something.
Yep.
He played for the Seahawks, right?
He was on the Seahawks, number 80. So let's see some quick careers. He was the NFL Man of the Year in 1988. I don't know what that award means. He was one-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time second-team, 7-time Pro Bowl. Twice he led the league in receiving yards. I mean, this guy was obviously one of the best receivers from his era, sounds like, from those stats. For his career, he's got 800 receptions, 13,000 yards, and 100 touchdowns. So quite good, especially for the era.
Nice.
I also noticed that he was he served in the House of Representatives for Oklahoma's 1st Congressional District for 8 years. So there's that as well.
Is this like a "if you understand this" timing thing?
I don't know. I guess so. All right. Just a little love for Steve Largent, honestly. Thank you for the question. Grand Slam Sports Cards. Please discuss Deion Sanders card price increases, such as his Kaboom and his Downtown.
Man, there's not.
Just say the first thing that comes to your mind, Josh.
I mean, Moonshot is the first thing that comes to my mind, but after that, there's not really a big, precedence for coach cards. You know what I mean? Like, I know some people got excited about Penny Hardaway being the Memphis coach. That had no effect whatsoever on any of the cards ever. It's neat though. Like the Deion Sanders story is fun. I've been following it a little bit the last couple of days. Just like there's been some like shit talk back and forth between him and the coach they're playing this week. I guess the guy was like saying he's like talking shit about how Deion wears the sunglasses or something. So now there's like all this back. Have you seen this? There's like a bunch of back and forth now, and obviously he like has taken over a 1-11 team and made them like nationally relevant. I think game day is going to be there or something, and so it's crazy. But I don't think it'll have much effect on his cards.
I think that's a fair take, and just be vigilant when bidding on Deion Sanders cards because some of the few that we verify sales for have been having some shilled auctions lately. And, Sanders as a coach has electrified the media, and it was very, very prescient sort of ESPN to anticipate that he was going to – because if the team wasn't doing this, it would have been very awkward, but they were very good. But, it's a reminder of how great of an athlete he was in Prime's prime.
His prime.
Luigi, 32 – oh, sorry. Do you want to finish that one?
He's coming – he's in the Pac-12 still. I have season tickets to Arizona State. They're in the Pac-12. He's going to be – Colorado's playing here October 7th, so I'll get to see the circus in town. That'll probably be the first sellout of a game at ASU since I've, in like the last 10 years. That stadium never sells out. It probably won't actually sell out, but if there's ever a chance, it's going to be that Deion game.
Nice. All right, enjoy. You'll get to see him pacing the sidelines.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Like, yeah, get him, coach. It's like, what am I rooting for?
Luigi 32-123 asks, chicken fingers or chicken wings?
This is probably the most important question we got this week, so let's take our time.
Go ahead. This is really more in your wheelhouse than mine.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm going with fingers.
That's good, because I'm going wings.
Yep, and I figured you would. And I think that wings is the right answer, technically. And it's the foodie's answer.
Mm-hmm.
But I just have to stay true to my childish eating habits and just honestly say fingers.
I mean, I'm only saying wings because I'm, as you know, a big pizza guy, and I kind of put the two together. But if I'm just going to sit down and eat a plate of wings, which I would, I'd more likely see myself eating just a plate of tenders.
That's where I landed on it as well.
But wings, a good wing, I think. I feel like a lot of tenders end up kind of being similar-ish, but a good wing separates itself from.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
No, a good wing will do something. What's that place that we went to here in Dallas?
Dirty Bones.
Dirty Bones.
I did not like
That was okay. It was pretty good, I thought.
Is it like, are you a dry rub guy or a messy sauce wing?
Let's sauce up the wing.
Sauce it up.
Sauce up the wing. And also, if I am doing wings, and I understand that the correct answer is bone in, I prefer boneless.
Oh. Okay, see now, okay. All right, well, you were doing okay until that last part.
All right.
Chicken nuggets. Would you eat a chicken nugget?
I often do.
I had chicken tenders for lunch today.
Nice. Did you make them?
No, what? Make them? No.
Fair enough. I have seen you make a pizza from scratch several times.
That's literally the only thing I make, so.
That's your specialty. You're a master of one.
I think the specialty word is what the word that I use to make myself feel better for the reality of which is that I am terrible at cooking, and I stumbled my way into learning how to make one thing. So you just wrap all that up and you just call it a specialty.
Nice. All right. Oh man, what can we squeeze in here in the final 4 minutes? Cow Card says, if you're building a team, would you rather have Magic Johnson or Stephen Curry as your point guard?
This one's tough. Now, I think where a lot of people would go with this topic is, well, if I'm building a team, I want Magic because he's more of like the pure point guard. The way that this is headed, I'm probably going to fill this out with like really good players, so I don't really need scoring for my point guard. Screw all that. Give me Curry. He just like draws away so much of the defense with his shooting that I feel like the word that Bill Simmons always uses is gravity, and I like that. Just give me Curry. Like the shooting is just, you just can't like replace that with any. You're not going to get that with any of the other positions, no matter what you fill out. He's the best.
Okay, that's good. This is an interesting comparison too, because both guys were surrounded by great teams when they were winning championships.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's so difficult about this though is like I wasn't conscious for the Magic Johnson Showtime Lakers era, and I'm not going to pretend like I went back and watched all the playoff games or something. Like I just haven't. The best I
just watch Winning Time.
What? No. And I don't watch Winning Time either. So it's hard for me to offer up anything on this because all I've got to offer about Magic is, I've seen highlights. I've heard people talk about how great he is. I can read his resume on a piece of paper, but I haven't studied or watched his game. And it's just tough to weigh in when I haven't done that, to be honest with you. So, shout out to Magic Johnson though for losing to Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals. We will give him
pick one.
Magic Johnson also was dominating during Michael Jordan's first half of his career as well. So, all right. Let's see here. From South Park Cards, what is Curry better at than Westbrook, except for shooting and not wanting low income?
Isn't he better at dribbling too? Come on. Ball handling.
That's are you seriously answering this question?
Yeah, because he's being a smartass about it, so he's going to get a serious answer back.
I guess what he's saying here is that hey, if Russell Westbrook wanted to join a super team and play in California, then he could have done comparable things to Curry. And let's put the caveat on there of in his prime, because Westbrook did join a super team in California last year, but injuries, wrecked that.
Which one? The Lakers or the Clippers? He's been on every super team.
duh. I was only thinking about the Clippers. Yeah, he was with the Lakers too. That's right.
They traded him away. They wanted him out of there so bad, and then they made the Western Conference Finals right when they got rid of him.
That is true. This is also end of his career, though. Like, it's tough to.
Well, I'm like one of the biggest Westbrook supporters, but Steph Curry is a bridge too far.
Noble effort, though, from South. All right, let's do one last question here before we wrap this up. Oh, what do we want to do? No, there were a few questions about something very funny that happened in the hobby this week, but I think we'll just leave those alone.
Text me those later.
You know what it's about.
I don't know what it's about.
Very humorous.
But it sounds amazing. I love humor. Comedy's fun.
I can't believe. Okay, all right. I won't give. I'm just gonna leave that alone. All right. Here, we'll end with a little discussion on this. BSM Depot says, I keep up with the NBA, but not at the same level that you guys do. I'm having a tough time understanding how the mid-season tournament is a good thing and how players will take it seriously, and so will the fans. What are your thoughts on it?
This one's really, really tough. I feel like even like Bill Simmons and sports shows are like struggling to what opinion they want to make on it. It's tough because I'm picturing it where a lot of the big time players, especially ones that are like older, where they've been so focused on winning championships that it's going to be hard for them to like get up for something that's not this end of season championship. Whereas I could see some of the young guys that haven't been chasing this when they've got this new thing that they can go after, they'll be excited about it. I'm thinking of like the Timberwolves or like the Grizzlies or something like that, where they'll be excited and they'll really go all out for this mid-season award, which would be kind of fun for them. I could see it playing out like that. Or I could see, like all these guys just like embracing it right away because of the money or whatever, and maybe they're incentivized with some sort of break in the middle and they just get excited about it and they go for it. I don't know. I could see it going a multitude of ways. I don't think it'll be bad. Like adding something new and fun, I don't see how that could be bad necessarily, unless you're worried about like taking away from the ability to compare players relatively based on playoff statistics, where it's like, oh, then once they added this, it's like adding the 18th game, the 17th game to the NFL. It could skew some of the stats. That'd be my concern.
Yeah, all really good points. And I'm going to land on the same side of the topic. I'm bullish on it, but I'm going to take it in a different direction. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
I think like people are overreacting to this phenomenally, and they're trying to set the bar at some inappropriately high level. Like, is this going to be the NBA Finals? No. Are people going to be watching it or participate in it with the intensity of an Olympic gold medal game? No. But you shouldn't expect it to be that. What's the worst case scenario? That these teams treat it as a regular season game. That's the worst case scenario that happens. In regular season games, I watch all 82 of them for multiple teams. They're very entertaining. They're still good games. Everybody's trying to win. And that I like your point about the young players taking an interest or potentially upping the ante for this to want to do well. And I think if you look at it, dude, when there's marquee matchups on like a Sunday matinee game or something, like, dude, those teams go out and they try to win, and they try hard to win. And if their players are healthy, they're going to play them. So that's how I see this playing out. This is going to be good NBA quality regular season basketball at a minimum. And in the better case scenario, it's going to bring out some extra competitive juice, maybe especially among younger players. So I just don't see the downside to this. Why are people scrambling to panic over this? I just don't see anything worth panic. And it's an excuse for people to go to Vegas for a weekend and watch the finals and bet on the games. So I don't know why people are scrambling to panic about this.
Yeah, people just like to hate everything that's new.
True.
I heard Simmons was talking to some baseball guy, or I forget what it was, but they got on a tangent about the baseball rule changes with the pitch clock. And the guy was basically like, oh, I'm the biggest baseball purist ever. And I was like, give me more of this pitch clock stuff. Like, and I thought I was gonna hate it. I thought I was gonna hate it because I didn't want the game to change, the history of baseball. I didn't want the time to change, and then now I'm just like, this is the best ever. So I would have an open mind that it might be really awesome. We don't even know what it is. You don't know how it's gonna affect it. So just like it might be cool.
Right. Good point. And it was brought up here real briefly. What are the thoughts about the NBA's new resting rule? And I've got
like 2 All-Star.
Go ahead.
Is it the 2 All-Star? Can you just clarify the rule?
Yep, you can't. The rule is that going forward, you cannot rest 2 quote-unquote star players in the same season. And basically, the definition of a star player is roughly somebody who was like an All-Star or an All-NBA player within the last 3 years, with a few exceptions.
And you can't rest them. You can't designate 2 of them in the same game with the rest label. Because it has to be technical. You can't just be like, oh, good players can't, like that's too.
Right. Yeah.
What do I think about it?
Yeah. I've definitely got a take on this.
Go for it.
This is, I had a few people send me this and they're like, hey, this looks promising or this looks good. Dude, this is completely toothless. This is NBA PR speak at its peak. This is a marketing solution designed to persuade the NBA audience that the NBA is going to make sure that when Steph Curry plays his 1 road game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, that somehow this is going to make him play when he sat out that game last year. And here's the thing. It doesn't even make sense for NBA teams or NBA players to bring themselves to play when the team has decided that it either has a strategic advantage for the playoffs or a health advantage for their players to stay healthy to not play them. Like these teams aren't holding out their players to torture us as the fans. These teams have strategic reasons for why they're doing this. So this rule, though, is toothless because all the teams have to do is simply give their players an injury designation as opposed to a rest designation, and they've circumvented the rule. But I give the NBA credit and its marketing and its PR campaign. I give them credit for this because at least they my phone is like my cracked screen. It keeps pinning. My cracked screen is great. I guess it's time to end the show. But they keep giving oh Lord, I just lost my train of thought as I was doing
You're saying you wanted to give the marketing credit for something.
Thank you. Give the marketing team credit because they have convinced a lot of fans and NBA audience members that this will mean something. And it symbolically is the league sort of saying, please play your players. But why would you even ask that if the reason for these rests are almost always, I think they're almost always, if not always, health related. They're trying to preserve the health of their players. Like, why would you, like, if you want to, and when players sit out, it's almost always because of back-to-backs in different cities. So if you want to stop the sitting out, stop the back-to-backs in different cities.
Yeah. The solution is, if they don't want to do marketing speak, just shorten the season. Keep the length of the season the same, like the first game and the last game are the same dates, but remove all the back-to-backs, remove some of the 3 and 4 days, 3 games of 4 days, and then you'll have solved it. But the NBA won't do that, obviously, because they want more money. So they want their cake and they want to eat it too, which is fine. They want them to travel more, do more back-to-backs, play more games, add an in-season tournament, have the All-Star game, and also stop resting. So that's why I asked at the beginning of this question was like, what's the technical rule? Because the obvious answer is they're just going to be like, well, his leg hurts today. Sorry. They're not stupid. They're just going to say that.
100%. And how many teams have 2 stars that qualify for this anyway?
Dude. An even easier way is to be like, oh, he's sick. I hope it's not COVID. We better sit him out. Do you want him to spread? That's so easy.
Yes, it is. All right. Let's wrap this show up by choosing a title. And
We got some really good titles. We have so many good titles. I hope you wrote them all down.
A lot of them down. I hope I got them all. All right. A strong opening option is insanely overrated. Insanely overrated.
That's too obvious. Too direct.
Nobody is safe. Let me gamble, bro. At the bottom of the river, made a story post, comma, got out of hand. Fat man has taken back the throne. Diet is too good. David Owens started sleepwalking.
How much of your show, like, are you thinking, like, man, I'm gonna just say this little extra bit just so I can get on this list?
It certainly has encouraged me to say the dumb things that come into my head.
Yeah, it's like it's affected me more than 0%. I'll say that.
Yeah.
The funny thing about the David Owens one is he's not listening, so he'll wake up to a notification that crossover episode title is David Owens is sleepwalking, and he might think, did I sign into crossover while I was sleeping?
That's so good.
That one? All right.
Yeah, it's good.
I keep the hammer.
I keep the hammer. This is like you holding a golden hammer. I'm picturing Wreck-It Ralph, the character, as like holding the hammer. I don't know if you've seen the movie.
I have not, but I like that there could be an image to go with that. Don't listen to anything we're saying. That's an inviting episode title.
That's just the title every week, I think.
Yeah, right. Put a number on it. Not everybody is 6 foot.
Just like reading all of these as captions with no context is so funny. You're just like, what did those guys talk about last night? I have no idea.
No harness, just my bare hands.
This is you scaling your own.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. How long do I have to be in the pit? When gingivitis takes me out.
This show is so ridiculous. This doesn't even have anything to do with cards.
I like this one. Let me just stop laughing so I can just say this one. Big nay.
Yay or nay? That's a big nay.
That was your reply to booklets.
Dude, you would be really funny though if you did that one with a horse emoji.
Yeah, I like that. That's why I like it, because it's like, what does this mean? Should we extend it to that's a big nay?
Yeah, with a horse emoji. That'd be just like, what? Nay.
Okay. He's beating me with a Mickey Mantle signed bat.
Oh, dude, that one's good.
That is good. That's really good.
Because people are definitely going to tune in for the Mickey Mantle stuff, and someone's beating. It's good.
And the last one was a good wing will do something.
Wait, you forgot one.
What did I forget?
You forgot Taylor Swift would be so lucky to date that gladiator.
Oh.
Enough titles about Taylor Swift.
You know how you do your daily ladder headlines, and you like save them and you stock them up, and you don't do them always the day after. You like, that's what we need for this captions. Like, we need to use some of these. We're wasting so many good ones.
You're wasting a lot of good ones. We are. What's your vote?
We need like a nomination at the end of the year for like the best captions and like the close call captions. This is like a Bill Simmons just gem of an idea.
I do wonder what we would be capable of if we ever like tried to prepare for this show beyond just taking questions. All right. What's your vote for the title?
We're gonna. What was Christina's?
Christina wanted a Taylor Swift one, and
That was her one that she wanted, or that's the one we forgot?
sorry.
I forgot.
What one did you want? You wanted that one too, didn't you?
I think I want David Owens to sleepwalk.
I can't. David Owens will wake up and he'll be He'll be mortified.
That he's in the show.
If we used his like alias, even then, I cannot.
Then I probably want the Mantle bat.
He's beating me with the Mickey Mantle signed bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Is that a long? Is it too long?
It's long, but in the grand scheme, short.
That's what she said.
All right, see you guys next week.
We're reaching the top.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Card Ladder 2.0.